Women for youth, and we had targeted the youth specifically during that time because of the regime that was there that had really championed the rights of the youth. That was the Kibaki era, which had introduced so many products and so many so many things that could touch on business, entrepreneurship, and all those. And the people who were left out at that time were the youth and women. That is why we introduced so many products that would touch on those categories or niche. We have been licensed by our regulator, SASCA, since 2011. We have served our members diligently. There is no time that we maybe have been denied maybe registration or something like that by the regulator. We cover 6 counties. We are spread in 6 counties within the North Rift. We have 14 branches in those 6 counties. Yes, we are in 6 counties. We have 14 branches, and we have the 15th branch. That is, we normally refer to as our virtual branch. We serve now the remaining 41 counties through our mobile platforms, our web portal, and those other digital platforms that we have employed as a SACCO. Apart from just serving Kenyans within our boundary, Kenya, we also, in the 15th branch, that is a virtual branch that we have, we also serve the diaspora clients. So, as our colleague had mentioned, Skyline SACCO also has several products that touches not only Kenyans within our country, but also those people or Kenyans who are outside hustling, doing their maybe studies and working, so they can also invest and save in Skyline. There is, now let me come to the topic of the day that we were asked to present as Skyline. But before I talk of that, Skyline and Kabarak University, we have partnered for quite a long time. I think maybe let me mention that since maybe inception of Kabarak University, because it came after Skyline, we have worked with this university and also the other institutions, the high school and the primary school, in several ways. We have supported each other in any activity that has gone on in Kabarak since I think 2018, when we started now formalizing the partnership. We have worked this journey together, and as a SACCO, we are proud of what has come of this institution called Kabarak University and the other institutions that are in this environment. So, pongezi sana for whatever you are doing, Dr. Tsanui and your colleagues, the students. You're doing a great job. So today, I was supposed to talk about the roles of SACCOs in supporting youth in business. I've just maybe nimemodify kidogo whatever I was given to speak about. We, as a SACCO, We have a strategic perspective that we look at the youth as a SACCO, a Skyline SACCO. And the first thing that I can mention is that there is a big challenge when we talk about our youth. You are studying today. Tomorrow, you want to start a business. Another person would want to be employed. Another person would want to join another venture. But the opportunities that are there, I can say that maybe they are not sufficient enough to, in our country. We have a major challenge in terms of unemployment of our youth. So many students are graduating every year, and many of them find challenge in getting the opportunities, the right opportunities for you to prosper. So as a SACCO or SACCOs, we do play a very important role. So many people initially were looking at SACCOs as those SACCOs that belong to the old, maybe the age of Dr. 𝑘𝐿𝑒𝐄𝐍𝑓 and maybe myself and above. But SACCOs, let me just tell you that if there is one very important component of our financial services sector that is playing a critical role, is the SACCOs, especially in youth, promoting youth entrepreneurship, incubation. Most of you, I'm sure you are in the tech industry. So SACCOs have played a very critical role in making sure that there is sustainability, there is resilience in maybe our youth entrepreneurship. As a SACCO, we are really committed to empowering our youth, mostly through financial inclusion. The only important thing in the language that you can speak as financial institutions is financial inclusion. And when you talk about financial inclusion, let me just mention that Skyline, we have close to 108,000 members. 108,000 over time. Those are the members that have registered to be members in Skyline. Majority of them are in this institution. And of that 108,000, approximately around 32% are the youth. The standard is maybe 30%, at least 30%, for us to achieve the financial inclusion bit. We must have maybe 30% of our youth as members in our financial institutions. So as Skyline, we've really tried. In 2017, I don't know what happened from 2017 to now. In 2017, we had close to 40% being youth. I don't know if, as our colleague had mentioned, most of you are not really interested in joining SACCOs. Is that true? Yes? Maybe tutahubiri leo mpaka muokoke kidogo. Si ndio? So at least right now we can talk about 32% being our youth. When we talk about the component of financial inclusion also, we have the women. And in Skyline, the ratio of male to female, our male members are 52% of the 108,000. 52%, and the female make 48%. Don't you think that's an achievement for a SACCO? Yes? So when we talk about financial inclusion, Skyline has really done its bit. We've tried since 2004 to make sure that all those members that we onboard every year, we make sure that the youth forms part of our membership. So when we talk about, I'm just doing some introduction for you to understand Skyline. One component that I believe can make the youth to join SACCOs as opposed to other financial institutions, the mainstream banks, is one, access to affordable credit. When we talk about affordable credit, SACCOs, we talk about 1% interest rate for our loans, that is per month. And to top it up, or to make it even better, SACCOs do 1% interest on reducing balance. We have several products that we've tailored over time. We have had challenges, as our colleague had mentioned from Boresha. Skyline also has had its fair share of challenges in dealing with the youth. In 2014, I think, around there. First, maybe in 2004, we also partnered with our government through the youth fund at that time. And they gave us some funds to lend to the youth, specifically the youth. And do you know what happened? Vijana walishika pesa, and it was very sweet at that time because they were to form groups, just like the way this government is trying to organize the youth in youth groups and in women groups and all those. So they were to form groups, and now they could access those loans, and then they were supposed to repay in a maximum of 2 years, 24 months. But also, I don't know the youth of that time, they were able to access the credits while they formed groups. And after forming groups, I don't know. I think we were not supposed to mention that this is funds from the government, so that people would not think that this is free money. So there was a challenge at that time. They formed groups, they took the loans. I think around 30%, 35% repaid. This was government money, so of course we had challenges in also, because this was a revolving fund, was supposed to repay back. So we had challenges at that time. So in 2014, the management now said that we are not going to repeat the mistake that happened. Now there was no government funds at that time. We introduced a product that was targeting specifically youth and women, also in groups. And we made it sweeter. As our colleague had mentioned, that SACCOs, initially, you were to register, be a member, pay some fee, registration fee, and you save or you patronize the products of the SACCO for at least 6 months. Also Skyline, we were there. But we realized that the youth were not interested in banking with us for 6 months. We were only getting a majority of our members now the above 35. Those people who are no longer youth. So we introduced a product called Arise and Shine. And we made sure that we selected in the areas that we covered at that time. We were in Baringo, Nakuru County, and Uasin Gishu County, and 𝐿𝑔𝐬𝑄. So we ensured that we pick representatives from all those counties. And we really encouraged them to develop a product that would suit them. So they came up with a name. They called it Arise and Shine. They were to arise and shine. But unfortunately also, because that one now didn't have a requirement of saving for 6 months. We had reduced that savings bit to just a month. So these people would save. They borrow loans that are repaid in 1 month for at least 4 months, and then they transition now to the long-term loans. The same thing befell that product. Up to now, we still have defaulters. Since 2014, majority of them are no longer youth. They were youth at that time. So that is how the challenges that we faced And I'm sure if any financial institution can come here and speak about targeting youth, there are several challenges. But I think over time, we've evolved. Of late, Skyline, we have, I think, around 7 products that target our youth. 7 products that will ensure that there is access to affordable credit, financial inclusion, and so forth. So as a SACCO, we have let me just mention two or three products. We have a product for the business category of our youth. If you are a startup, if you are a business that is in existence, you can access support in terms of financial solutions to your business. We have a product called Boost Loan. We have Sky Biashara Advance. We have Mazingira Loan, a product that we recently launched that targets 50% of those people who are to be lent, to be maybe given that product, is supposed to be 50% youth and women. Youth and women. Call it Mazingira Loan. And we are looking at green financing, smart, climate smart lending. We have a product called 𝑘𝐿𝐿 Loan that is targeting also the youth, those of you who are interested in agriculture, the agribusiness. We have a product called 𝑘𝐿𝐿 Loan. We are targeting, because vijana, they are not interested in those products that you wait for 3 months, for 1 year, 9 months, and so forth. So we've looked at those high-value crops, maybe like tomato farming, which has a lot of returns if well taken care of. Potato. For those who are interested also in coffee, coffee is becoming a very important crop, cash crop in Kenya. So we have a product called 𝑘𝐿𝐿 Loan, just specifically targeting you, the youth. So for you in the tech space, we encourage you to join Skyline. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to wait until now you graduate for you to start saving and joining a SACCO. For Skyline, for you to join, it's free. We only require your national ID, a passport size photo, na KRA pin. Kuna mtu hapa ana hizo vitu tatu? Yes? I'm sure there is none. Everybody has maybe ID, a passport size photo, and a KRA pin. So once you join, you are able to, maybe we are able to ensure that we guide you in the savings, because we've mentioned that SACCOs, a SACCO is savings and credit cooperative. So we make sure that we encourage you to save. We guide you through your ideas. I know youth have so many ideas that if they are properly, if we properly mold these ideas, we are able to make sure that you are successful even without any employment. Because I don't know the percentage of the unemployment for our youth in Kenya right now. I'm sure it's very high. So you don't have to wait for that time to start thinking now that you've not maybe joined a gainful employment, then you now start thinking about a business. You can start now. You can start now. If you join Skyline, you've been told that here in Nakuru County, we have 3 branches. We have one in Kampiamoto. Most of you can easily access Kampiamoto. We have one in Nakuru City. We have another one in Molo. Those, just 3 branches. We've made sure that you can easily access those branches so that you can start your journey. Your success story can begin now. I don't know if some of you are in first year or second year or third year, but whichever year you are in, you can begin your journey. Your success story can begin right now. Also, we've tried for the youth, we've made sure that there are loans that are low interest rates. We are working with some partners to begin introducing. This Mazingira loan product, as I've mentioned, we are working with some partners to try and introduce a single-digit interest rate for this product so that it can really attract not only our youth, but also the community at large. Also, repayment, we give you, for most of our loans, we give up to 60 months repayment, that is 5 years. Others, for the check-off, we have expanded the repayment period to at least 96 months. So those of you who maybe can, if you find employment immediately after this, you can also patronize that product. For the youth, as I've mentioned earlier, we introduced products in 2000 and something, in 2004, around there, for the groups, youth groups and women groups, that were targeting maybe businesses specifically, because we wanted now, people were not used to doing business. Startups, startups were not so much at that time. But it also had its challenges. We have reintroduced the products. We have 3 categories or 4 categories of those products that are group-based lending. We have Sky Kikundi, Chama loans, micro assets, and Chap loans. Chap loans, I know everybody, if they hear the name Chap, you would really be interested in knowing what is this Chap. If I can get this loan kwa haraka sana, then you have a space in Skyline. So for the Sky micro assets, I don't know how many of you have collaterals here that you can take to the bank and get a loan. Is there anyone here who has a maybe title deed? I'm sure there is 1 or 2. But majority of us do not have collateral that you can now present to the bank and get loans. So this group lending is really suitable. It was tailored for our youth because most of you do not have collaterals to present for you to access maybe loans. Another component is I don't know the time. I was given around 20 minutes. Yes. Another part that is very important that Skyline has really concentrated on is financial literacy and business trainings. We look at startups. How can we mentor these business startups? How can incubation be part of our SACCO so that we ensure that sustainability is achieved? So that you do not start a business today. Within a few months, it has collapsed and you're out of business. So we ensure first that we have workshops on budgeting, record keeping, and business planning. And this we normally do through several platforms. We have member education forums. We normally organize some workshops for business, specifically business people. And we target 50% of those trainings, because normally, nowadays, the government has really played its part. So there are some support, maybe through some NGOs and so forth. So they make sure that the trainings, the workshops that we organize, we also ensure that 50% comprises youth and women, so that we achieve financial inclusion. We have mentorship programs. We have ensured that we employ qualified staff, so that when you walk into our branch or when you make a phone call, maybe I didn't mention, in part of our partnership with Kabarak University, we have over time especially our 2 branches that are near this place, Kampiamoto and Nakuru. We have given priority for those who want maybe, is it internship? What do you call that program? Attachment, yes. I went for my attachment in 2009, so munisame kwa sababu naweza kuwa nimesahau, si ndio? So we have made sure that we give priority to students who seek for attachment in Skyline from Kabarak University. In every field that, in any area that we are able to accommodate you, especially those who are in ICT, business courses. Over time, I don't know how many students that we have accommodated in our Kampiamoto and Nakuru branches. So, for those of you who will be interested in coming to Skyline to learn how the SACCO model works, you are welcome. We've really collaborated with other institutions to ensure that agribusiness succeeds, MSMEs, initiatives. Another component, another factor that is very important for us as a SACCO, let me not forget to mention, is the savings culture. SACCOs encourages savings culture, and we've really had a problem. Over the last maybe 3 years, as our colleague had mentioned, that there was those youth that were employed recently. Sumumesikia Ruto akimention that kuna 70-something thousand teachers walikuwa employed. So as Skyline, we also serve those maybe teachers, and there has been a problem. When you talk about savings for the somebody who has just been employed, a youth, wanaita Gen Z. When you talk about savings, hapo ndio munaanza kukosana na watu. So, but in Skyline, we have products that specifically target youth that will build your creditworthiness. We have BD savings product, ordinary savings, biashara savings, among others. We also try to give incentives for consistent savings behavior. We normally have annual group officials meeting whereby we look at those groups that have really excelled in their savings, in their loan repayment, and in their businesses, and we award them so that we try and encourage our youth, our women, and all our members to ensure that we encourage them to do savings, to repay their loans promptly, and all those other activities that we undertake in our SACCO. We also try to promote long-term financial planning. And you know, when there is a saying that if you fail to plan, what are you trying to do? See, you are planning to fail. Sindio? So we try to make sure that you look at, as a youth, we encourage our youth to look at maybe the next 3 or 5 years. Where do you want your business to be? Where do you want yourself, your goals? What goals do you want to achieve? We try and coach you to make sure that you do long-term financial planning. And in that, we achieve resilience and sustainability in our businesses. Now, when we come to digital inclusion and innovation support, what does Skyline do when we talk about digital inclusion? We have introduced, as I've told you, we have the 15th branch that now serves our youth very well. Through mobile banking, we have a USSD code that is *879# for those who have interacted with Skyline. We have an app that you can just download and do your transactions, SkyChopper app. Our web portal is very active. We have 𝑉𝑎𝑣 debit cards. That is a debit card that can serve you anywhere, wherever you are. When we talk about support for youth digital-led, youth-led digital startups. Currently, as you know, as you are aware, there's this monster called climate change. I'm sure you are conversant with that. So we, as a SACCO, we've started focusing on green financing, whereby we look at climate smart financing, we look at the value chains that our youth are involved in, and so many youth are doing very good in so many areas, especially transport, the border sector. We look at those products that can really serve you well in those spaces. We also encourage tech adoption in business operations. We've made sure through our web portal, you can have our system right in your business premise. So we try to integrate the system into the members' businesses so that you do not have to travel to our branches. For the branch, you can come to our branch if you maybe want now a loan, or you've tried to process a digital loan, because we have quite a number of digital loans that you can access through our USSD and our apps. So maybe if you have a challenge, now you can visit our branch. But in most of the cases, you've made sure that every member is able to transact. Whether you are young or you're old, you are able to transact your business in Skyline. There's also the component of employment creation and self-reliance. As I mentioned, that we, as a SACCO, we are doing our bit in terms of now the partnership that we have with this university in offering internship and attachment positions in our SACCO. And that one now will, for those of you who are in ICT, cyber security, business courses, you can come to Skyline, get some knowledge, get an idea. You can even develop a product, a program that can support SACCOs, maybe in their businesses. So we finance youth enterprises. We also try to look at job creation. And we encourage self-employment. Most of the things that I've mentioned here borders on self-employment. We are now trying to look at, because of the high unemployment rate, we are trying to look at how we are going to onboard, how we are going to support our youth to be self-employed. And this will eventually reduce dependency. It will also try to strengthen our local economies through these youth-driven solutions. My second last point, the strategic partnership and funding linkages that the SACCO has tried to incorporate. As I've mentioned, that we have been partnering with our national government, the county governments, the not-for-profit organizations, the private sector, in expanding the funding access, incubation support for the youth businesses, which in small ways, you know, if Skyline does their part very well, another financial institution does their part in terms of supporting our youth, eventually we are going to see reduction in employment rates and also grow our economies. Currently, we have programs that we have a partnership with 𝐸𝐹𝐷𝑒, that is International Finance for Agricultural Development, AFC, the National Treasury, that are targeting our youth in the MSMEs. And when you talk about MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, we are touching on our youth and women and the agribusiness. As I had mentioned, we have several products that support agribusiness. Representation is part of inclusion of our youth in SACCO governance. Just to mention, approximately 70% of our employees are youth. Daktari, yes. And 85% of our operation managers are youth. That is 35 years and below. So you see that you have a space in Skyline. Once you join Skyline as an ICT person or in whichever capacity you join, you are able to grow as a youth. That is one of the achievements. And these has always ensured that there is succession, planning, and business continuity. Tukikwama na wazee, tutaenda wapi kweli? Delegates, we have Skyline, our governance structure. We have the delegate, our representation, the members' representation are through the delegates. We have tried. Our policy, our election policy speaks very clearly on having at least 30% of our youth and women as representatives of our members in Skyline. And we've not really achieved that, let me not lie, because majority of you've not embraced SACCOs. So if we are able today, through this preaching, convince you to join SACCOs and save consistently, you and others will be able to be representatives in SACCOs, and those ideas that come on board, of course, you will be targeting the youth. The products that will be coming out will be youth-oriented. Lastly, as I conclude, the SACCOs, and specifically Skyline, are enablers of youth entrepreneurship. By enabling co-guarantorship, group lending models with no collateral requirements. As I told you, I had asked how many of you have logbooks and title deeds? I'm sure ni hao wenye wamekaa hapa mbele, si ndio? Hawa dosi hapa mbele. So, because majority of our members, be it youth and women, the female component of our membership, they are not able to get collateral for accessing credits. SACCOs, we've really done our best in terms of ensuring that you do not have to come with a title deed or a logbook for you to access credit. Just come, try to convince 4 or 5 of your friends, join the SACCO, save, and as I told you, we have products that you can just save for 1 month, you access a credit facility. You can save for 4 months, you access credit facility. For the youth especially, we have a product that if you save in a group for 8 weeks, that is around 2 months. You are able to access credits, you co-guarantee each other. We have also introduced another product, a loan product that is based on the asset collateralized lending model. This is products that we introduce the small assets, motorbikes, water tanks, biogas, biodigesters, and so forth. That these assets that we fund for you can form part of can be the security of that loan. So we ensure that you get an asset, and that asset becomes now the security. So Skyline remains committed in nurturing youth potential through financial access, because the most important thing is to ensure that you access financial solutions to your business startups, trainings, and inclusive leadership. And there's a saying, as I end, that in Skyline, we invest in youth today for a resilient tomorrow. We invest in youth today for a resilient tomorrow. Thank you so much, Dr. 𝑊𝘐𝑄𝐍𝐓. Sorry for taking my 19 minutes of my time. So I still have 1 minute for any question that can come up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate Mr. Vincent. Yeah. I think he's been very clear, and he took 20 minutes Kenyan time, which we appreciate, isn't it? We can give him a better round of applause. Asante sana. What is the minimum savings a young man can make? What at the very minimum? A comrade has 100 bob, 200 bob, and he wants to inama lunch today, so that he sends it to Skyline. He deploys it to the SACCO for it to work for them. Can I save 100 bob as a comrade?
Answer that, because it really touches on them. Skyline, we have not put any minimum savings amount. We encourage even 20 shillings. Ukiinama lunch, leo ukule the basic one. Now we save even 20 shillings. In fact, when you send money to Skyline through your mobile phone, it is free. No charges. Yapo imeingia. No charges. So you can do any form of savings. 20 shillings, 50 shillings. But now in groups, we encourage a minimum of 100 shillings weekly contribution. Because we don't want to close anyone out. At least 100 shillings. Mtu akienda kibarua, apate 300, save 100 shillings.
Thank you so much. So I see this is possible. Na wale wako na mili kidogo kama mimi, unafanya intermittent fasting, badala ya kula lunch unasave 200, unatuma. Sidio? Yeah. You know, there are so many ways we can save. Reverend Koros, I know you will not be eating lunch today. You'll be fasting. Because lately you're so full in your coat. So achana na lunch leo, utume in your SACCO. So thank you so much, sir. We will entertain 2 questions, or 3 questions only to Skyline SACCO. After that very impressive presentation. Is there any question? Any question? I know there has been, yes, there's a question over there. Where's Crystal? There's a question over there. Okay, thank you. Another question? Please say your name.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓, and I have a question. So, as we have heard, I say that there are 108 members, 108,000 members in Skyline, and 32% of them are youths. So my question is, how can the Skyline SACCO ensure that the large shareholders does not dominate in decision making at the expense of ordinary members like us comrades?
As a political question.
Yes, thank you. As I had mentioned, that most of our products are now youth-centered. The products that we introduce of late just targets the youth. Yes, to mention, as I had told you, in around 2017, we had around 40% being youth. But currently, you make up around 32%. So, and as I had also mentioned, our delegates, our election policy clearly stipulates that 30% should comprise of youth and maybe youth, and if possible, the women, the female members. So that is what we are trying to enforce. Still, it's a challenge. You make around 22% of our delegates. We have around 120 delegates that represents the members. And you make around 22%. I'm not sure exactly. But that is how we've tried to encourage youth leaders in Skyline. And when you come as youth, because wazee wame dominate for quite some time. Since inception, Skyline has been dominated by male, and not only male, the older male. So, but our policy has been very strict on youth leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Osoro. I have a question, another question. I am a young man. I have developed a technology that I have registered. And this technology can be used to be consumed by your SACCO. And I have registered it with KEEPI as an intellectual property. And I have already invested quite a bit of resources into it, such that it's actually working. But I need to scale it. I need to strengthen it further. And for me to do that, I need $1 million, 500,000. I don't have the money. But this is an IP already that I have registered. It's my property. Can you take it as collateral? And I'm a young man. Can you take it as collateral? We deploy it to work for you. And we make use of it to repay.
Yes, good morning. Of course, we'll take it as a collateral. The only thing that we'll do is maybe making a valuation of the investment you have done and equate it to what you are borrowing. And maybe we told you make a contribution of maybe 12.5% as one of the securities being savings. So we'll make a value of what you are doing. Then we add plus what you are going to contribute as you are saving, 12.5, not a quarter now of $1 million, it's 12.5. Then we give you the money and you are able to advance your project. Have I answered it? Yes.
Thank you so much. Hakuna makofi kwa hiyo? Yeah. So people who are in fintech, I think this is called fintech. Guys who are doing fintech, you have an opportunity to get support for the work that you're doing. So you can spend a couple of months, develop a fintech, a very good one, have it registered, keep your people here. We'll be inviting them to talk to us about what they do. So make sure that you protect your intellectual property as much as possible. Then you can explore means of having it financed for you to scale it. Thank you so much, Skyline SACCO, for making time. Is there any other question? I can entertain one more question, then we can move to the next presenter. This side, there's no question. I hope that means you understood. Okay. All right. Nataka tuwapatie factorial clap. Factorial clap. 5 factorial. 5 factorial.
Can we read Isaiah 60 verse 1? What does it say? Isaiah 60 verse 1. What does it say? Isaiah 60 verse 1. Someone to read for me. Isaiah 60 verse 1 says, "Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of God has rises upon you." Initially, when we introduced the product of Rise and Shine, the glory of God, which is Skyline, came to youth, but they didn't want to arise. So the glory was off. Now the glory is here. The glory is here for youth now. Please arise and shine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The glory is here. Please arise and shine. I want to believe that's a product that you're offering. Yes. Thank you so much. So please explore. Is it on your website? It's on your website? So go to the Skyline website, look for the glory is here, arise and shine product. and see how you can benefit from that. Asante sana. So I would like us to do 5 factorial. 5 factorial, Dr. Moshere. I know you come from a background of clapping. Do you, or you? Yeah, you want to lead this, please? 5 factorial. 5 factorial.
Okay, let us prepare to give the 5 factorial claps. We begin with 5, then on a reducing. Okay? So let's go. 1. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Karibu sana Dr. Andrew 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐢𝐷. Dr. 𝐂𝐂𝐶𝐓𝐑 is the coordinator, Innovations and Business Incubation under the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Outreach. He is just arriving from Germany. He's just arriving from Germany. Yeah, so najua tutakuleta ndio weke hewa ya umuhimu hapa. Yeah, karibu sana daktari. Now, we want to go to the next presentation. We want to do the next presentation, and the next presentation is on financial literacy. The next presentation is on financial literacy, and this one, I think all of us will certainly benefit, Dr. Emma, isn't it? All of us will benefit. Financial literacy is one area that most of us have not been very keen about. So you study a lot of physics, you study a lot of business management, you study a lot of education, you study a lot of medicine, so that you can make money, but you never remember to study financial literacy. It's one area that's actually underrated. So we want to listen to a gentleman I respect a lot. His name is Mr. Richard Wachira. Mr. Richard Wachira is a lecturer in the School of Business and Economics of Kabarak University. He is massively financially literate, and we would like him to share a part of him with us, financial literacy. I'm so sure I will not see any movements when we are listening to how you can become literate financially. Sasa ukitaka kutoka wakipresent kitu kama hiyo, what else do you want? Let's put our hands together and welcome Mr. Richard Wachira to speak to us for 20 minutes only. 20 minutes only. And the people who are financially literate keep time. Isn't it? I am so sure that's one of the features of financially literate people, sir. Karibu sana. They keep time.
Thank you. You can give a round of applause to Dr. Olewa. And my 20 minutes starts now. Yes. All right. Thank you. It's exciting to be here. Though, you know, sometimes when an introduction is given, you're not sure whether you're going to live up to that introduction. But I will explain perhaps what we mean, or what Dr. Olewa meant when he was introducing this gentleman, because at some point we might confuse. When you told that someone is very financially literate, you might be expecting too much. But I want us to narrow down, because 20 minutes again is quite a short time. And just as Dr. Olewa said, I'm Richard Wachira. I teach in that School of Business and Economics. I do so many other things. I am a businessman. I've been in business for the last around 15 years, what we may call legal business. But again, at the age of many of us here, when I was in second year in Egerton University, I started doing what many of us may not call business. And it is that which I started that made me to get now into the so-called serious business. I'm an investor in various SACCOs, and the last one was Skyline SACCO. I invested in Skyline SACCO. Immediately I joined Kabarak University. I did not know about it. I just trusted you guys. I didn't know you. I met a man called Ezekiel. I believe the members of staff must be knowing Ezekiel. And when I met Ezekiel, I told him, I'm looking for a SACCO. And then he told me, I have a SACCO. And you know, Ezekiel is that old man that you would trust without asking many questions. And therefore I trusted him, and he led me on a Tuesday. I'm not saying this would happen to you. I know things have changed. He led me on a Tuesday to Skyline SACCO. Tuesday morning, I met a gentleman called Mbogwa. He gave me a form. I filled the form by afternoon. On Wednesday, I sent back the form. And on Thursday, I got money, which was more than 1 million and above. See, but again, it is not like I was just looking for money. I had a plan. And that's where I want us to deal with. Because when we talk about financial literacy, we have a big challenge. Whether you are a student, your parent, your lecturer, whoever you are, and various professions, we're having challenges of people who live beyond their means. And when we live beyond our means, or outside our means, then it means that the brilliant idea sometimes we all have doesn't measure up. I know Boresha SACCO and Skyline SACCO have talked about money, and they were pulling towards themselves. Me, I'm not marketing any product. I've not come here to market any product. So I will be very organic. When you see me talking when I'm up there, just understand me. I will be very organic because I want us to get something. And the problem is not the issue of saving. And we can have another speaker in the afternoon talking about saving. But the issue here is discipline, the discipline of saving. How disciplined are we to get into this one component of the national income called saving? And this is disturbing all of us, and that is why Skyline is there. That is why Boresha is there, and there are other financial institutions. And not just that, I believe 3/4 of you, if not all, you have some Android phones. And whenever you are holding your Android phone, sometimes you'll see some pop-ups coming and telling you that you can borrow. Are you like me? Ama hizo message huwa zinakuja kwa simu yangu tu. Huwa zinakuja kwa yenyu. And therefore, there are so many applications for selling money. And I want to ask you this question. Now, why all these applications to sell money? And the persons in the who are now running these apps, they do not know you, but they trust that you will pay. But it is not a gift that you are being given for free. It is not a gift that you're being given for free. Over the years in this country, we have lost great people because they have borrowed everywhere, including us as professions. You are borrowed in Equity Bank, and then when you are unable to pay from there, you decide, you meet Vincent in Skyline, unachomea Equity, ndio umuonyeshe Vincent uko sawa sasa kwake, unaingia kwa Vincent. Then unakuwa defaulter huko, ukisha default huko, unakutana na yule jamaa wetu wa Boresha SACCO ameenda. Boresha SACCO, ukifika huko unamwambia mtu wa Boresha SACCO wachana na Skyline. Skyline hawawezi saidia because you want to build a name at such a point. Let me take you back. For 8 years I worked in a financial institution. I'm a banker by profession. And I worked there for 4 years in operations, for 4 years as a credit manager in Equity Bank. And I started with Faulu Kenya. I have done a lot of credit. I have done a lot of financial aspects. And one of the things I realized is that the challenge we have, even for business people in this country, is not money. Vincent, it's not money. People do not have a challenge of something called money. Because one, due to the forces of demand and supply, money will never be enough. Money will never be enough. And even for the students who've just arrived, if some of you are first years, and you've just left the, kifua cha baba yako ama mama yako, and you've been given some money, and you made some groupings, and due to peer pressure, I know this is week 3, but because you did not budget, you have started texting your cousins, who else? Your shosh, because now you cannot call your dad, because you got the money from your dad. You have started calling and texting everyone, letting them, guys, I am in the university. So what? It is not about being in the university. It is because you have already squandered what you're given. And now, when this continues happening, the greatest danger is that you might end up either stealing, and once you steal, you'll be a criminal, or you will borrow from friends, and after borrowing, you continue having breakups of friends, breakup of friends. By the time you are in your second year, you do not know who are your friends. Now, what is this animal called financial literacy? What is this animal called financial literacy? It is that ability to understand and manage money so that if you are in business or you are an individual, you can be able to live well and not survive. You can be able to live and grow. Now, let me take you back to my second year in the university. When I was in the university, in Egerton University, I discovered that there was a gap. I did a need analysis and discovered there was a gap in matters food. That there were some food items that were not getting to the students at the right time and the cost they needed. And therefore, I approached the university that time. Don't do that. I know you may not be able to do what I did, but I'm giving you an idea of how I did it. And I approached the university. I told them, can I provide this item? And the item was bread. Who doesn't like bread? And United Bread was being manufactured in Kisumu that time. And therefore, there was no United Bread. I did an analysis and discovered that there are some students who needed that bread. So I became a broker in second year. I was getting only 50 shillings, 50 cents, not shillings, 50 cents, sumuni. Sumuni kwa mkate moja inaingia kwa university. And you think that is very true? Just continue reasoning. I brokered that and I was able to bring bread. Now, I was not selling, Dr. Orewa. Now, it was just about who brokered for this bread to come to the university. So my work was just to make a call in the evening and to know how many pieces of bread have been sold, and money comes. And that is what we call passive income. Passive income started coming into my account. And by the time I was in fourth year, before graduation, I had enough money to buy a plot. So I went to Pipeline and bought a plot, that time 30,000 Kenya shillings. It is that plot that I sold many years later and bought the plot of where I live today. You cannot clap for me. Yes, ama unataka kusema ni watu wa mlima na shamba. Broti mafuta. Now, look here. It is because of that seed, and I did not ignore the 50 cents. 50 cents, that 50 cents that I did not ignore. It is that one that made me to get into that. And therefore, there are issues here of budgeting. There are issues here of cash flow management. There are issues here of also understanding what are your funding options. Let me get back to those people who are in business or who have a dream. You might be sitting in this hall and you have a dream and you say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be this and this. You have already grown up. You have already grown up. If you don't start doing that now, time is running out. You know, hamwezi endelea kutuambia when I grow up, then tukifika kwa siasa mnasema mnataka kupewa hizi vitu. Now you are contradicting yourself. And I say the issue of saving is about discipline. And this is to all of us. It's about discipline. What about spending? Spending is very easy. Spending is very easy. I know some of you are waiting. Saizi kuna pesa tu iko mfuko ama iko tu kwa M-Pesa. Unasikia inakuchoma. Unasikia inakuchoma, unashindwa like utatoka hapa saa ngapi. I see how you are smiling. Najua kuna vidole ya mtu unakanyaga. Unashindwa unatoka hapa saa ngapi ndio uipunguze kidogo. Are you thinking about the funding option? How are you going to get that other money to fill the basket? And those are the challenges we are all having, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes when we do not clarify this, the issue of personal finance, the issue of business finance for those of us who are in business, separating the two, if we are not able to do this, then there is a great problem because we will be drawing from the business and eating every day. Later, you realize you do not have anything. I'm also a minister of the gospel. I did not say this. And I've seen people come at the altar for prayers. Then you ask someone, mtu anakuambia biashara yangu inaenda kuisha. Now, those people do not need prayers, Pastor, isn't it? They don't need prayers. They need to be taught financial discipline. Hakuna mapepo ya kufukuza hapo. Otherwise, pastor, watafanya kazi nyingi. Every Sunday you are chasing away demons which do not exist. Just because you started a business of grocery, na hiyo grocery ndio umekuwa ukikula. Na hiyo grocery watu wakuja unauza ndizi, and therefore washirika wamejua unauza ndizi yenye imeiva. Who doesn't want to pass there, through there? So they continue passing there every day. So before evening you have already given out 10 bananas. Tomorrow 10 bananas. Then you come on Sunday saying the devil is sitting on you. It is not the devil, it is because you are very undisciplined. And that story is the same with you at your age as a student. And therefore, when I talk about startup financial journey, what we are saying is that we need to understand that the greatest and the hardest thing to do is what Vincent has just been saying here. I said I'm not marketing anything. So I'm just as free as possible. And when it's talk about financial management, I know it's a topic for another day. For 10 minutes, you cannot be able, my 10 minutes is over. I don't want to get into issues of sale, revenue, expenses, and all those kind of things. But I want you to take a moment, just some seconds, and ask yourself, including myself. Now, how much have you spent today, since morning? Neil? Don't give me an answer. Even for me, before I came to this place, I did not know when tea will be served, Dr. Orewa. So I passed through somewhere. I took some tea and mandazi. So that is around 50 things gone. I used fuel to come to this place. Do you mathematics in the evening and ask yourself what you get? Let me say this without fear of any contradiction, that even when we talk as professionals, and I know this because right from when I was in the banking, that I used to have something called advance. Understand what is advance? Advance is something very friendly. But by 15th, daktari, kuna line imepangwa. Hiyo line Dr. Tanui inatoka wapi? Line imepangwa by 15th. Watu wanaomba nini? Advance. And you look at the characters of those people who ask for this advance, they are the same people. Time and again, they are the same persons. And this advance is not free. It's paid at an interest cost. You at your moment of hardship, but why is it that it is you only that you always borrow this money? So does it mean then that you did not know how to live within your means? Somebody said when Boresha was here, they talked about that when you see someone has bought a car, you also are asking, which model is that? How much is it? But we do not ask ourselves, what about the cash flow that comes in? I want to talk about mindsets and habits. The financial discipline states that you don't spend all that you have. Actually, you actually ensure that spending is less than a third of the percentage of your income. And even the HR policies in many institutions are like that. That you may not be able to be lent any other money when you exceed some limit of 1/3. Why are this happening? Because it is known naturally for human beings that tusipowekewa hiyo tutaenda tu kuomba na unaambia huyo mtu wa HR Mungu atatushughulikia. And it is true, God is there na Mungu atatushughulikia. But again, you become a burden to yourself. You become a burden to the members of the faculty. You become a burden to the society. You become a burden even to God because you cannot afford to pay your tithes and offerings. I know this is difficult. And that aspect of identity, transparency and accountability, getting to understand, you keep quiet, you take a moment and ask yourself, yes, this has happened. I am deep in the hole. And I'm digging the hole while I'm inside. Uko kwa shimo, lakini unachimba shimo ingine ukiwa wapi? Ukiwa ndani. So what is likely to happen, Dr. Mushere? You will be buried because just in case of anything, you'll be buried. And this is what is happening because we do not call ourselves, hiyo kitu tunaita kujiita kamkutano. Kujiita kamkutano ukiwa peke yako. Ukiwa peke yako. And that aspect of continuous learning is what has brought us here. professors, doctors, and all that, because this is something that is affecting all of us. Financial discipline is not anything that can be taught just to be taught. It is something that needs to be taught, and you move with an action plan. Now, Vincent has told us that you can save 100 shillings. But how difficult is that? How easy is that? It is not that easy to get. We manage our cash like oxygen. Yeah? Have we learned to separate our income? The income we get, I get a salary, I have a business income. Am I able to separate the two? You know, when I was young, hiyo picha sijui ilienda wapi. Wale walikuwa kwa biashara zamani kidogo. Kuna picha mbili zilikuwa watu wa biashara wanauziwa. Picha moja mtu mkonde, na ingine mtu amenona sana inaandikwa I sold in cash. How many of you saw that picture? Or you saw it in your house? At home? Oh, Pamela naona uliona. I sold in cash. I sold in cash, jamaa amekaa vizuri. Another one like this. I sold in debt. Now, you are that person and I am that person. Saying, being able to get to that level that I might save. What is this thing called saving? Different brands of saving, which my time is 4 minutes. I don't want to get into that, but I want to say this, that this one, and you have yours, because savings is about discipline. You can start from there. You can start from there. There are so many apps of savings here that you can start. I'm not telling them not to come to you. Before you even get to Skyline, to Boresha, to that other SACCO, you can start somewhere. And now, for those of us who mature, and when I say mature, I'm not saying the others are not mature. Those of us who are working, you can do something about that salary you get. I realized this, that at some point, I had an insurance policy that was really feeling a pinch, that it was like eating on my salary, seriously. After I took 3 years, when I got the balance of that premium, I was clapping. I've been suffering all this time, but I can see something here. And so us, until and unless we are forced to get through that direction, we may not be able to get into that aspect of everything that we have been told since morning. And that is why I came up here just to say that we need to be ourselves. I'm not Boresha now, I'm not Skyline now, but we need to be ourselves and ask yourself, yes, I'm a student, I'm in second year, and I discovered I don't want to stay within campus. I went to Rafiki. There are so many types of houses in Rafiki, different rates. But because of peer pressure, you decided to use that house which was a bit higher, and you know the salary of your parent. They only paid for 2 times. The third time they are struggling. So what will happen the fourth time? You'll be kicked out of that house. Your mattress, what else do you have? Will be sold. And you will start struggling, and there will be disruption of your academics in this institution. I'm saying this because we have had students, cases coming to the student rep and the dean of students with issues of debts. Then you ask, and the story is vicious. That I borrowed from Emmy, then I paid, then I borrowed who? You pay Mary, you borrow? Key𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐦, like this. You move like this. And if you do not cut that vicious cycle, it doesn't matter the amount. You might be borrowing 500 shillings. And when you now become a serious borrower, you continue increasing the amount because something tells you, I'm able to pay. Then you need to ask yourself this question. Once I borrow this money, what do I do with this money? I spoke in this kind of a talk in an institution. I don't want to name the institution. And one young man, because currently is a student in Kabarak University, a 4th-year student, came and asked me, with 3,000 shillings, can I start a business? And I told him, yes, you can. And I wanted to know what is the skills he has, what are the abilities he has. He told me, I have a laptop, I have my phone, I have Wi-Fi, and I'm asking, how can I get, is there any online business that I can do? I am not so much vast, even as I stand before you here, with Forex business, but I know the business. And I introduced a gentleman who has been doing, who is a Forex guru, and with 2,500, he started doing it. I said he's a student in Kabarak University, but I met him in a college doing diploma. He's also a footballer of a national team. And for him to get there, what he has done, he started with a demo account. I'm saying this because now, before you think about a big business, 3/4 of you have the gadgets, you have Wi-Fi. All what you do with this Wi-Fi is going to TikToks and seeing what other people have posted. And not TikToks about business, TikToks tu za kufanya tu ukae ukicheka. So unaona tu hata wengine mnakuwa nazo, tukifunza unaona funzi anacheka hivi, unafikiria amefurahi na vile ile lesson unafunza. Comrades, nyinyi tunawajua sana. Unafikiria mwanafunzi ameenjoy sana Dr. Tanui. Lakini huyu mtu ako TikTok. Unaangalia kwenye Ruto alikuwa jana. Unaangalia, you check everything. You check, you even Google details about us. Kuangalia ni nini tumeweka huko. But what are you doing that can bring money, income to yourself? Now, the young man I'm talking to you now told me the other time, I was on a long leave, we talked and we sat and he told me, now Mwalimu, you know what? When you get time, I can train you. Now he wants to train me on business. You know, I introduced him to be trained. Now he wants to train me. Because with 2,500, I don't want to say the account balance because I do not know. But si unajua kuna mtu tu ukiona kitembea unajua account balance iko sawa. Ama mnasi kuna mtu anatembea mnaona account balance iko sawa. That is a 4th-year student. Is it possible for you to do it? Students, I'm asking you, is it possible? You say it's America, I'm serious. Is it possible? You should have said yes, we can. That is just one item that I've mentioned to you. There are so many that I don't, my time is out. Who is coming here? Because my time is now out. And I want to allow us for questions. Dr. Tanu, you're coming. Before you come, let me just say this. Even to encourage those of us who, the members of faculty who sometimes you've been unemployed and did not have something to do. There are so many things that you can do so long as we understand the aspect for financial literacy, the aspect of whether there are steps for you to get to the dream that God has called you to be. There are steps like this. Ni kama steps kama hizi. And you may not jump. Na ufike huko mara ya mwisho. And some of the people, sometimes who are your bosses, you will get back there and be their bosses. 2 years ago, I was arrested by the police because of a speeding in some place called Band Forest. And when I was arrested, I did not refuse to go to the police station. Therefore, when I was taken there, only to realize that the officer commanding the police station was my student at some point in 2019 in Egerton University. So unajua siasa alitokelezea akasema wachaneni na huyu ni mwanafunzi wangu, na wakasema nipewe chai. Unaona sasa? Sasa si unaona siku hiyo mimi ilibidi ninyenyekee na yeye mwanafunzi akawa ni yeye anasema. Yesterday I was checking on a short video. One time the former president of this country called Raila Odinga sacked William Ruto. And Ongeri, the other name I can't remember, Sam Ongeri, he sacked them. And then William Ruto came out immediately and said, I know the appointing authority. Now, I was comparing now that one and now. Now, can Raila Odinga sack William Ruto today? No, he cannot do that because vitu zinabadilika. I'm encouraging you today. The person standing before you today, you might be their boss in years to come. If only you have good discipline and understand yourself, know who you are here, and do not be here to misuse and to use your guardian, your parents' finances, bila kufanya kile ambacho kilikuleta mahali hapa. Some of us, some of you, we have had times that we have even dealt. I'm happy Reverend Koros is here. He understands. I have walked with him and some lecturers trying to help some students who have sunk into drugs. Why did they do this? Because they had cash. They had unused cash. Pesa ambayo inaweza tumika kufanya kitu kingine. All these things are happening. And for those of us who still think, I stayed 6 years without being in formal employment. Some of my colleagues know that. And at some point, you had to think not outside your box, but without even a box. You just throw it away and think without it. I remember one time I went to town. Dr. Tanu, you can, now I see you want to come. I went to town and a name came in my mind and I produced business cards. And I said, I'm selling properties. I did not have any property to sell. I was dropping the business cards all over. Very nice business cards with my number. And people would call me, where are these properties? And I tell them, nauliza, na wewe unataka shamba wapi? Wewe unataka nyumba wapi? Ananiambia Gilgil, namwambia just a minute. Then I'll call the guys in Gilgil. They tell me the price, then I'll go back. And you make money. What I'm saying, the taxes are there. They are all things that are happening in this country. And money will never be enough. Even now I'm looking for it. Nasija ipata. And I know even as you look at me, you are looking for it, including Vincent. But the little you have, Jesus says, for those, if you cannot be faithful with the little that I've given to you, who will trust you with greater wealth? Thank you very much.
Yeah, maybe before Wachira goes, there could be one question. Yeah. It's possible. We don't want to lock anybody out. Maybe you need some clarification. Kindly feel welcomed. It looks like, Mr. Wachira, your message really sang, eh? Okay. Yeah. Just in case you'll have something, even after Mr. Wachira has exited the scene, you're always welcomed to ask. Yeah, maybe I'll give Mr. Wachira to give the number, and then a member of the committee will actually appreciate before we usher in Kipi. So, karibu.
Thank you. My number, you take this number, it will help you one day, if not now. And you can also find me in YouTube. You can write Building Mindset Solutions. Building Mindset Solutions, you'll be able to see the businesses I do. There are talks on management. There are talks on issues of finances. There are talks on forgiveness. I'm an author of a book, The Chains of Unforgiveness. You can get me there. My number is 0722 55 15 95 55 95. Thank you.
So welcome, Daktari. You will introduce yourself and appreciate the speaker.
Wow, this has been enriching, isn't it? So we want to appreciate Mr. Wachira. Let's kindly stand up. Let's be upstanding as we appreciate Mr. Wachira so that we can proceed to our next speaker. Kindly, wase, kwa nyuma, rada, ende kazi, hebu tufanye rehearsal, nyuma, appreciate. You are good students. Sasa tumpatie tatu zake mzito, then we get to our next speaker. Mbele, nyuma, appreciate. Ingine, nyuma, appreciate. Ingine, nyuma, appreciate. Discount, nyuma, appreciate. Thank you so much, Mr. Wachira. We can be seated.
Thank you very much, Dr. We are going to usher in our next speakers, and that is our guests from Kipi, Engineer Nathan and Eric. We will give them a maximum of 20 minutes to keep us in pace with Kipi Engineer, karibu na Bwana Eric. Karibuni sana. Let's appreciate them as they come. Karibuni.
Thank you so much, Dr. As you have heard, my name is Engineer 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐢𝐵, and as I introduced myself yesterday, for those of you who are not here, and I work with Kenya Industrial Property Institute, and this is my colleague.
Thank you, Bwana Diego. My name is Eric Okoth. I work with 𝐂𝐶𝐓. I'm a trademark examiner.
All right. By a show of hands, how many have heard of 𝐂𝐶𝐓 before today? Nyosha mkono tu. So this is, we can say it's less than, or can say 5% of the room. So the journey of 𝐂𝐶𝐓 begins with, I'm going to talk about the Constitution of Kenya. So in the Constitution of Kenya, we acknowledge the right to acquire property. Now, when you think of property, you probably are thinking of going to Boresha SACCO or Skyline. You acquire a loan so that you can be able to buy land, or which you'll get a title deed, or you want to buy a car, which you'll be able to be given a logbook. But there's also a form of property which you can be able to acquire and which is recognized in the Constitution of Kenya, and that is intellectual property. And as the name suggests, it is property that comes out of, and 𝐂𝐶𝐓 is a state corporation established by 2 acts of parliament, Trademarks Act, as well as the Industrial Property Act. And our main function is to administer intellectual property rights, specifically what is called industrial property. And so probably in the course of this Innovation Week, we are going to hear 25 different innovation pitches. Those innovation pitches may be going from what we had yesterday, from 𝐷𝐈𝐅𝐓, 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓, and so on and so forth. You see, you identified a problem that is facing the market, and you used your intellect so that you can be able to come up with a solution. And the reason why we have the industrial property rights, intellectual property rights, is that you can be able to safeguard that idea which has originated from you. I remember, maybe if I can shout a few names, there was a Bravin, there was Dylan, the names I remember, Ivy, and so on and so forth, Juma, and so on and so forth. So you can see the idea was not generated by 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓, it was generated by Juma, who is in Kabarak. And so there needs to be a way that the student who has generated the idea can be able to benefit from that idea. And that is why we exist. Intellectual property, there are various types of intellectual property. We have copyrights. Copyright is just basically an expression, an artistic expression. It can be either you've come up with a song. You remember yesterday, Dr. Chair of the Innovation Week taught us a very nice way to clap. I'm still learning my French. You know, that music, you can be able to be granted copyright for writing music, for singing music, for performing in many audiences. We are in a place where there's a lot of agriculture, so you can plant varieties. So when you come up with new plant varieties, that's also a form of intellectual property. And then now we come to patents. A patent is an exclusive right that you, as an office, for an invention that you have come up with. And that exclusive right is going to last you 20 years. And yes, and it's usually we give you the rights in exchange of disclosure of your invention in such a way that someone of a similar field can be able to replicate your innovation. And we also have what is called a utility model, whereby you can probably take an existing product or process and you make improvements to the same. And if you make any improvement that increases the utility of that product or process, you can be able to be granted exclusive rights for that improvement. But now the difference is that is going to be only valid for 10 years. Let me, maybe you're confused when I say the word invention. When you talk of invention, we mean a product. For instance, you all have phones, right? So for instance, the product could be the phones. Or phones have existed, but they've always been produced using one type of process. So you've probably come up with a new process of making that phone. So that is also considered an invention. Then you also have what is called an industrial design. Now, if I have a Nokia phone, I have a Nokia phone. This is how it looks at the front. This is how it looks at the back. But just by appearance, if I told you this is an iPhone, would you believe me? Would you believe me if I told you that this is an iPhone? Why? Why wouldn't you believe if I told you it's an iPhone? Yeah. Yes, Mr. Citadel. Can someone give the mic to the gentleman in blue, the back?
The iPhone is unique. It looks unique. Yeah. So if you want to know, okay, when someone is seeing an iPhone, you can be able to know that's an iPhone because its design it has its own design.
Okay, exactly. So, and if you go to a supermarket, okay, thank you so much. He has said the look is different. If you go to a supermarket and you see a Dasani bottle, would you the bottle of Dasani water, would you confuse it for 𝑘𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑛𝑔𝑒𝑡? Why? Sorry? Are we hungry? Okay, yes, the design. And so basically the point which I'm trying to make is that different companies, how they want to stand out in the market is in the unique shape of which their product is. And you see, just coming up with that unique shape, it also involves a lot of intellect. And as an office, we reward your effort in that intellect in the sense that we now give you an industrial design, whereby we protect the aesthetics of your product. So for instance, just thinking of probably an innovation that was pitched yesterday, like for instance, AgriGo, maybe they have a very unique interface that will now set them apart, say, from their potential competitors. They can be able to come to our office and register that, so that if anyone else uses that very design, they can be able to be sued for infringement. Now, I want you to take out your phones, probably, just probably as a last illustration, before I hand it over to my colleague to give you an overview of trademarks. So, looking at my phone, there's probably a process of making the phone. So this one phone can be protected using a patent. Now, my phone has a unique shape. It has a unique shape. So the phone manufacturer also probably has sought for an industrial design protection. And there's some software that helps my phone to run. That is protected by copyright. And then there's also the unique name of my phone, which is Nokia, which is protected by trademark. What am I saying? You can have one product that's protected by multiple intellectual property rights. So it's not enough to just have an industrial design. You can go forward and be able to seek property rights. So probably for the benefit of teaching, you can also, as you're doing your pitch deck, investors out there, for instance, recently the European Innovation Council, they mentioned that they are hesitant to invest in Kenyan startups because Kenyan startups do not seek intellectual property protection. And so you find investors are a bit hesitant because they do not want to pour in like for instance, there's a team that was asking for $2,000. They do not want to pour in $2,000 to support your innovation. And then once you get into production, they realize, oh no, company X that is based in Baringo has a similar product. And so they're going to be liable for infringement. And so this is something that you as innovators, even as we continue to celebrate innovation, because the intellectual property system exists to enhance innovation. That is something that you need to also think about as you're developing your products. Let me now hand over to my colleague to give you more insights on trademarks.
Thank you, Bwana Yego. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, my name is 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀𝐋. I'm from trademark section. I'll take you briefly about the procedure of protecting trademarks. You may ask yourself, what is a trademark? In a simple language, trademark is a distinctive mark that differentiates goods and services from different enterprises. An example of trademark is Kabarak University. We gave registration to the Kabarak University simply because the founder and former president, Daniel Arap Moi, has used the name Kabarak for many years. But according to Trademark Act, a geographical name, somebody should not own it. But when we receive that application, we consider the long use of the name. That's why our board and managing director, we decided to give the former president the exclusive use of the word Kabarak. Kabarak is a registered trademark with us. It's unfortunate that we came from our stand without the copy of registration certificate. But if you happen to pass there, you'll have to see the copy of registration certificate. Now, the procedure to register trademark, if an applicant apply to register the trademark, the initial stage, they start by completing trademark form number 27. This is basically search form. In that form, there's a place where you write the class. We have international classification of goods, NIS classification, which starts from class 1 up to 45. So for a case of Kabarak trademark, the late former president applied for it for all classes, from class 1 to class 45. That means nobody can apply for that name in any category and get it, unless they get a consent from the administration of Kabarak University. Anybody with a question about that? But proceed. So Kabarak is for Kabarak University alone. Nobody can use it in Kenya unless you get a consent from the administration of Kabarak University. So as I was saying, if you want to apply for a trademark, you start by filing trademark form number 27. The duration for getting such report is within 7 working days. You receive the report such based on what we have in our database. If you apply for a name that is already protected in our, with 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓, then we are going to reject that application. That means you cannot proceed to the next stage of our application. But if the name is available for registration, then we'll do a report to you. Then we are going to inform you to apply upon completion of trademark form number 2. That is the application form. The fee in local currency is 4,000 being application fee. Registration fee is 3,000, no, 2,000. Then advertisement fee is 3,000. By talking about advertisement, I mean a trademark cannot be registered without, first of all, being advertised in the media. For our case, we have Industrial Property Journal that comes once in a month. That's why we advertise all our trademarks which are accepted. Then once advertisement is done, you count 60 days, which is 2 months. We call those 60 days opposition period or maturity period. After the lapse of 60 days, and there's no objection upon registration of your mark, then the registrar prepares certificate of registration to the applicant, which will be valid for 10 years with effect the time they filed the application. And in case of an objection from any quarters, then we have a tribunal in the office that summons both parties to appear before the tribunal. If the judgment there, one of the parties is not satisfied with the judgment, you can file your case with the court. So once the trademark is registered and issued, it will be in place for 10 years, after which, if the 10 years elapse, you can now apply for renewal. I think in a nutshell, that's the procedure of registering a trademark. Any question regarding trademark or patent, my colleague can answer.
We've taken 18 minutes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Come again. Now, I'm asking, in this era of whereby a lot of companies are using AI to generate trademarks, logos and all that. And so my question is, how does 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓 handle AI generated, rather use of AI to generate IPs? And can AI be an innovator?
Thank you so much for that question. I don't know, maybe you can take any other questions. Okay. So the question of can AI be an inventor is currently an ongoing discourse, not only in Kenya, but globally. So currently the only jurisdiction that allows for AI to be an inventor, I believe, is South Africa. And it came about through a judgment it was a pronouncement by the courts. But when you come to our offices, and especially if you look at the forms, we'll always require that you name the proprietor when it comes to trademarks. Like for instance, when a certificate is granted, it has to be granted by, someone has to apply for it. For instance, in the case of Kabarak, it is the former president who applied it through his respective agents. So that is the name of the proprietor. And when it comes to patents, utility models and industrial designs, you can name, say for instance, Kabarak University as the applicant. However, you need to name a natural person, for instance, Dr. Tanui, as the inventor or creator. So currently, there's no law that explicitly states AI cannot be an inventor, but it has been common practice. It has been common practice across all jurisdictions in the world. It's just that now we are living in a boom industry. Is it 5.0? Where now AI is starting to play an important role. And so as I need to mention that KEEP is part of several, a regional body called ARIPO, Africa Regional Intellectual Property Organization. And there's a global body called WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, where as countries we are regularly meeting to discuss what is the best way forward to be able to incorporate matters AI. And I think because you are short of time and seeing you can probably add a minute or two. So as I mentioned, Kenya is part of the Africa Regional Intellectual Property Organization, which is a coalition of 23 member states, mostly English-speaking African states. And so because of our association with that, when you apply for a patent or a utility model or an industrial design, we can be able to transmit your same application to, that's what we call it in short. And ARIPO will communicate to the countries that you want your innovation to be protected. And so, for instance, if you foresee your innovation going beyond Kenya to Tanzania, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, you can always come to us and we'll be able to transmit such that your one application, your one innovation can be protected in multiple states. And in the trademark, Kenya is part of Madrid. And now Madrid is, okay, let me give my colleague, because Madrid is mostly trademarks.
Thank you. My applications, first of all, if you want to apply for Madrid protection, you must have a trademark registered in Kenya. Then once it is registered in Kenya, you can now apply for the countries that want to trademark be protected through Kenya to WIPO. And the fee is paid in US dollars. So in Africa, there are countries which are members of Madrid, and majority are not members. So, but majority of countries in Europe and Asia, they are members of Madrid system. So you can select among the countries that you want to register. If they're not members of Madrid, the law does not allow us to pass your application to WIPO. But if they are members of Madrid, then we can guide you how to pay fee and complete the form so that we transmit it to WIPO. Yeah, I think I'm clear.
There's a question from a gentleman to my far right.
So good afternoon. Okay, my question goes straight to you. So how do you ensure that you don't scare away startup, maybe an innovator, like I'm looking for funding for my startup, but seeing that I'm supposed to pay again for the trademarks, I'm not scared to come to you guys to search for maybe help in guarding my innovation.
Please come up again. Is it that you're afraid to pay for trademarks before you seek funding, or?
Yeah, something like that. In that maybe I was looking for, it was a startup, so I was saying that maybe I wanted to get money for my innovation, but again coming to the cost of paying for trademarks.
Okay, so you can say we are government and we are actually very friendly. As my colleague has mentioned, to apply for a trademark, you need 4,000 shillings. To apply for a patent, you need 3,000 Kenya shillings.
Oh, I had not got the way he had stated the pricing.
Yeah, sorry, I had not mentioned. So a patent is 3,000 Kenya shillings. And I think, is it Bravin yesterday was telling us 3,000 shillings is not a lot of money. He's around, yeah? Bravin was telling us yesterday that 3,000 is not a lot of money, right? So yeah, a patent is 3,000 Kenya shillings, an industrial design is 3,000 Kenya shillings, and the utility model is 1,000 Kenya shillings. I also need to mention, as much as the difference in duration, patent is 20 years, a utility model is 10 years, but you still get equivalent protection. And so we usually encourage innovators such as you, before you go and pitch to a potential investor, you can come to our office and you file for that patent protection, because from the date you file, let's say you filed today, or you filed on 1st September, and you go and say pitch on 2nd September. If that person now decides to implement your idea on 4th September, you can actually seek for legal redress at, there's a tribunal called the Industrial Property Tribunal, which is domiciled under the magistrate system. So you can actually go and seek for redress and say, this person whom I pitched to my idea on 2nd infringed it because I had filed for protection on 1st September. But if you pitched to the investor on 31st August, and then you came to KIPI on 1st September, you'll have no case at all. And I also need to mention that probably you're still developing your idea. The law is also very favorable to you, because we have what is called a provisional patent and a provisional utility model, where, as the name suggests, you're given a provisional protection for a period of 12 months. So for a provisional patent, the charges are 1,000 shillings, whereas a provisional utility model are 500 Kenya shillings. And with that, you can still be able to go to the people you are funding, you are seeking funding from. So as we usually have a motto at our office, when you meet innovators such as you, you invent, then you protect. After you protect, go and commercialize. But what no proof that that is their idea. Remember how I started. The constitution of the land recognizes intellectual property right as an asset. And so without a certificate from KIPI saying that, say, let me use the examples from yesterday. Green tech is an idea of Nathan Kimutai. There's no way we can be able to defend yourself in a court of law because our certificates come signed and sealed and it is recognized. So if you forget anything else, please remember, invent, protect, then commercialize.
So invent, protect, commercialize. That might actually be the starting show. Now, maybe one more question. As we wait for maybe a question, we wish to recognize the presence of Kabarak University staff from our different schools. They are there. I think maybe kindly, once more, can we recognize the presence of our lecturers? I know there are members of the committee whom have been very active. School of Education, kindly. I can see Reverend Koros, Reverend Dr. Koros, Dr. Richard Moindi, Reverend Kitur. Yes, thank you very much. Any other? And we have Professor Kibadi, the Dean School of Business. He's here with us. Asante sana. And yeah. Oh. Msimame tafadhali, naweza ku ni vizuri tuwajue. Yeah, staff from School of Business, kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Pamela Nengo, School of Business.
My name is Mary Wanjiku, School of Business. My name is Eunice Waruguru, School of Business.
My name is Stella Korir, School of Business.
So Kabarak University is a large family, and we appreciate everybody. We granted. We really kama pengine nimekuruka utasamee from staff. Otherwise, we have a guest here. Maybe nibe kidogo. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀𝐋 from Meru University. I head the innovation wing. I just came to join our colleagues doing innovations. Thank you.
Asante sana. Asante. We didn't know. But before we do that, something for us, greeters, and then maybe we will also give Professor Kibati atu salamie. Yeah, alafu tutapata maombi. Maybe Reverend Koros, you will pray for us as we break for lunch. I don't want to ambush you. Yeah, so kindly, our coordinator.
All right, good afternoon. As my Andrew 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀 being here for us. So yeah, I had a chance to attend a conference in Germany on startup and innovation. So we're not doing bad as Kabarak. I think we're actually at the global market. So I'll still have a session to talk about it. For now, niko jet lag kidogo, so bear with me. In the afternoon, we're going to have. In the afternoon, we're going to have pitching, and I just want to confirm whether the following are here. We have Craig Dominic, are you here? Craig Dominic, are you here? Jotham Mwangi, are you here? Thank you. We have Kevin Manthi. Thank you. I'm just confirming. 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀𝐋. Thank you. And then lastly but not least, we have Shadrach Mark. Shadrach, are you here? Okay, so we're going to have a session this afternoon on retail and GovTech. So please get prepared. We will give you 10 minutes to pitch your innovation, and then we'll just do it like yesterday. Where we have judges listen to your innovation, and then they will award you marks. So again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I wish you a great lunch. So thank you. Welcome.
Asante sana. Let's appreciate our Dr. 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀𝐋. Yeah, he has told us that we are doing well in the global market at university, which is very encouraging. Now, I will kindly request, now, actually today, this particular event being hosted by our university is being hosted by two schools, School of Education and School of Business. Our dean is actually out, Professor 𝐂𝐄𝐍𝐓𝑑𝐀𝐋 in Uganda for a workshop. And early in the morning, we had Dr. who was standing in for her, and she left for other duties. And we are blessed to have Professor Kibadi around here. Kindly, Prof. Karibu.
Yeah, my colleague, members of the teaching staff from the School of Education, those ones from the School of Business, our partners in this very, very important event, our dear students, all good afternoon. Yeah, mine is very brief. I wish to take this opportunity to appreciate, of course, the investor management because of the foresight to have this kind of an event. It's a very, very important one. Also the ones who've been able to organize, the Directorate of Research and Innovation and the entire team, so we really appreciate you. And our dear students, we are very grateful. That's the teams from both schools are present. We are very, very grateful that you are present here. The reason is, as we are training you, we are not only training you for employment, but we are also training you to be entrepreneurs, to be innovators. And these are the opportunities that will help you catch that moment. These are the opportunities that will help you realize that that idea can ultimately be commercialized. And from what you pick out of this, it might define who you are another 5, 10, 20 years from now. So we are really proud of you. We are very grateful that you sacrificed. You could have been elsewhere, but you chose to be here. May you also enjoy your lunch. God bless you and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Let's appreciate him once more. Asante sana. Now, I will kindly invite pray for us as we break for lunch. And maybe before I hand over the microphone, we will come back here at 2 p.m. Let's keep time. Let's keep time. We've learned a lot and we still learn more. So, karibu sana, Reverend.
Presentations that we have sat and listened, and it will go a long way in helping us to think about innovation because we've been wired to innovate right from the beginning of creation. And now as we break for lunch and later resume for another yet moment of presenting and listening to other innovations, we pray that your presence shall be with us. May you bless the meal that we are going to partake and also bring us back that we may continue with these innovations. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Students. Thank you, Dr. Koros. Now, for the students, please remain calm for around 5 minutes so that you get your meal cards. There's food for you. There's lunch. For the members of staff, we'll follow Dr. Mushere out, will be guided. The students musiende, Dr. Mushere, where do you unafuatana wageni? Students musiende, kuna chakula chenyu. Kuna milka zinakuja. Benjamin is coming. He is on the way from the mess, coming. Apologies for those around 5 minutes. You can wait. Please. Thank you.
Asante sana, Bwana Wachira. Thank you so much.
To a brighter day, and I don't ever have to question, does the nighttime fade? 'Cause as sure as the sunrise, your faithfulness stretches through the skies. I'm glad I wake up, 'cause you're here with